And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, guys. Here we go. It's the Europa Conference League draw for this upcoming 2022-2023 group stage. An exciting time to be a Hearts fan, I suppose. The first time, I think, in Europe since 2006. And I don't mean sort of qualifiers. I mean, like, in terms of actually in Europe playing in the group stages. Again, last night, very, very unlucky. I thought Hearts played exceptionally well in that first half against Zurich, and I really did feel the goal would have came. However, George Grant got sent off and for diving, and from that moment on it was going to always be an uphill battle there for Hearts. So it was sad to see Hearts actually go out, and my washing machine's going massively quick. Very, very loud. Hopefully you guys can't hear that, but yeah, it will slow down in a second. Let me just shut that door. 2 seconds. Jesus Christ. But yeah, that should slow down. So sorry if you can hear a bit of a background noise there with the washing machine, but it will be finished in a couple of minutes. But as I say, Hearts last night for me played very, very well in terms of the Europa League playoff round against Zurich. The first half was probably the best I've seen a Hearts team in a very, very long time. Remember, they were up against the Swiss champions, a very, very tough tie, but they still managed to hold their own, I feel like, in that tie. But yeah, as I say, George Grant there getting sent off. Stupidity, you know, on a yellow card, a blatant dive. It wasn't a referee falter. It wasn't anything wrong with the referees. George Grant there just making a massive, massive blunder there for Hearts. And yeah, as I said, it was an uphill battle from there. And it's sad to see there from Hearts, because I really did think that they would have qualified and actually went on to beat Zurich. But when you go down to 10 men, it's always going to be a very, very, very hard task. And look, this Conference League is where Hearts are going, unfortunately. But look, it's a competition that I feel Hearts will take a bit of confidence from. We're going to go through pot 1, pot 2, pot 3 and pot 4 and discuss the potential opponents. Again, I'm not clued up with every team in here, but Hearts are in pot 3, and being in pot 3, they can avoid some of the big boys. If you look in their own pot there, they've got Nice, Anderlecht, you've got Sivasspor, which are pretty good there as well. So there is some sides that they can avoid, but there is some decent sides within the Europa Conference League. So Hearts are going to need a little bit of luck if they do want to qualify from the group. Of course, if you're not clued up with the Conference League, it is the top 2 who go through. If I look at pot 1 there, the ones to watch, probably a Villarreal, Champions League semi-finalist last season, did very, very well in the Champions League, and of course won the Europa League back in 2021. So they're one side, obviously, to try and avoid there if you're Hearts. Basel, again, a decent little side there from Norway. Slavia Prague, Rangers know all about them. They're a decent side as well. AZ Alkmaar, Dundee United got absolutely pumped rotten 7-0 against them. So again, another side there to avoid from pot 1. You got Gent, Istanbul, Başakşehir and Partizan Beograd, along with West Ham. West Ham did very well in the Europa League last year, getting to the semi-final. So them as a side, they'll probably fancy their chances on actually going far in this competition. However, they haven't started the Premier League season that well at the moment. So it is what it is. But pot 2 is CFR Cluj. Again, Celtic will know about them. Cluj beat Celtic. So again, another tough side there from Romania. Molde, FCSB, Fiorentina, Köln. Fiorentina and Köln could be really good away days for the Jambos. Beševa, Apple, and then Slovian Bratislava. And then of course pot 4. This is ones where you want to be making sure you pick up your 3 points. RFS, Balakani, Pajkunik, De Graden, Slikenborg, Slovako, Lech Poznan and Dina Pereira. I'm sorry for the actual pronunciation, and that was so poor from me. But as I say, that's that pot 4. You know, Hearts shouldn't be worried about any of those teams in there. They should be getting 3 points, both home and away, especially after last night's performance. And I know Hearts did lose, but I did feel like they played. That first half especially is the best I've seen Hearts play in a very, very long time. Against some very, very good opposition as well. So it is what it is. Let's have a little look here in the live chat. Bill King says if they played their way playing last night before that Muppet dived and got sent off, they could go far. But football they played in the first half was brilliant. Again, I agree with that, Bill King. Mark says really disappointing that Hearts got put out by an average at best Zurich team. We're now in Arsenal's Europa League group with PSV and Bodo Glimt. Exactly. The Mark on the scene says things have always get quicker towards the end. It's all good. Why don't you show your face anymore? Just because I'm My house is, my Wi-Fi is so bad at the moment. I am moving out of this house on Sunday, so I will be going back to sort of face on screen. But as I say, the Wi-Fi is so bad, it just lags the camera and yeah, just makes things so annoying. But I will be going back to normal very soon. Messi hit says West Ham should help make up little for missing out on Arsenal game for the Jambos. Hope Hearts get West Ham, James Boy. Again, that would be a great tie. You don't really care. Maybe you want a glamour tie in that sort of pot one where you look at your likes of West Ham, Partizan Belgrade would be a decent one out in Belgrade, AZ, Villarreal would be a good one there for Hearts as well. But then again, you do want to think about qualifying from the groups. So you want a nice easy one in pot 2 maybe, and then you want a decent one from pot 4. I think pot 4 Hearts got nothing to worry about in terms of those teams in pot 4. Maybe Lech Poznan's probably the one to avoid, but the other teams in there, I think Hearts are perfectly fine. Let me just turn the volume down on the TV. Those teams in pot 4, I think Hearts got no problems with those. It's just trying to get the right balance there in pot 2 and then pot 1. If you want to get like a West Ham as a glamour tie, I think maybe you're looking at maybe an Appelwen or a Slovian Bratislava from pot 2. So I understand that the Hearts want to play like your West Hams and sort of things like that, which is great for the fan base, of course, going down to London, going out to Spain and playing at some nice stadiums. That's what you want. You're in Europe. However, I think Hearts should be looking at trying to qualify from the competition. So as I said, if you're going to get a West Ham, you want a Slovan Bratislava, you want an Appelwen, you want a Molde or something like that from pot 2. And as I said, pot 4 should not be a problem for Hearts. It really shouldn't be. Hearts should be looking to get 6 points over those 2 games out in the pot 4 against everyone there. I'd say Lech Poznan are probably the side to avoid in pot 4, but apart from that, again, I think Hearts will be perfectly fine with those teams in pot 4. I don't think any of them will really prove to be a problem. It's just about getting that pot 1 and pot 2 balance right, because you don't want to get a West Ham and a Cologne, as it'll be very hard, or a West Ham and a Fiorentina. It'd be very hard to sort of qualify from the groups. So, as I say, Hearts shouldn't be looking to try and compete, especially after the performance last night. They should be they shouldn't be looking to just make up the numbers. They should be looking at trying getting to the next round of the competition. Of course, finishing first will be incredibly hard, but look, finishing second should be the ambition for the Jambos. Again, pot 3, we can talk about some of the sides in there: Nice, Anderlecht, Zalgiris, Austria Vienna, Shamrock Rovers, Hearts, of course, Sivasspor, and Vaduz. So some random teams in there as anything. The Europa Conference League is a weird competition. But again, I like the competition. A lot of people give the Conference League a lot of stick, but I think it's a decent competition. It's a great idea. It's good to give other teams an opportunity to play in Europe that don't usually get that sort of chance. And Hearts sort of fall into that bracket. Obviously, last night, in years gone by, they would have been without any European football. So it is good for the Hearts fans, and they're going to get 6 games guaranteed, but they should be trying and qualify from the group. Hopefully, with a bit of luck, they can get the glamour tie against a West Ham, but also go and try and get a Slovan Bratislava in pot 2, and then anyone from pot 4. I think they'll be fine. Let's have a little look down here in the live chat. Evelyn says FCSB can beat Hearts. They are better than CFR. Again, I know a bit about Romanian football. Yeah, you want to try and avoid those Romanian teams. FCSB are quite a good side, and so are Cluj. Celtic know all about Cluj from a couple of years back. So yeah, they're a side to avoid. They are a very good team. Romanian teams, again, one to avoid there. But apart from that, who do you want, Hearts fans? Who do you want? Let me know down there in the live chat. Who do you fancy? What sort of team do you want in there? Give me your dream sort of scenario of what you want. Of course, I think Hearts fans need to be ambitious in terms of... I think Hearts fans need to be ambitious on what they get and what they try and do. In terms of, they don't want to make up the numbers. They don't want to finish third. They don't want to finish fourth. They should be trying at least to go for second. First is obviously going to be hard, but second should definitely be an option there for Hearts. But I'm looking forward to seeing some people's takes on who they want in the round. Let's take some more comments. Mark says, was talking about the quick washing machine. That comment without context makes no sense. Sorry, yeah, the washing machine's done there, Mark, mate. David says, what did you think of Celtic's Champions League draw, mate? Delighted with Real Madrid. I think Celtic got a very good draw. I honestly do. I think Real Madrid, of course, is you know. It's Real Madrid are going to finish top of the group. I've got no qualms around that. But when it comes to finishing second, I think Celtic have a really good chance to finish second in the Champions League group stage. However, look, obviously Celtic are going to have to be a lot better than they have been years gone by, and I'm sure Celtic fans will be the first ones to admit that. That they haven't come up with the goods in Europe over the last couple of years. But look, things can change. A new manager, Ange, looks fairly positive. So this could be a great opportunity to get into the last 16. But I think if Celtic don't get European football after Christmas, then I think you've got to ask a couple of serious questions. I know there's no easy group in the Champions League, but I think Celtic got a very good group there. As I said, Real Madrid will finish first for me, no problem. But I think there's a little battle there between second and third between RB Leipzig and Celtic. So I think Celtic or Leipzig will take second and third. Leipzig are a very good team. I know people are saying, Rangers beat them last year. Rangers were fantastic last season, but the game at Leipzig was a tough match for Rangers. They got some good talents within the team. They got Christopher Nkunku, who was fantastic last season, started the season pretty well again this year. They brought in Timo Werner. Again, he was a bit of a flop in the Premier League, but for Leipzig, he was formidable when he played there recently. So, as I said there, you shouldn't be taking Leipzig for granted. But, again, I think Celtic should be playing European football after Christmas. And if they're not, then, questions may be asked. I think Shakhtar Donetsk is quite a good one because they've not got a home team. Obviously, you know what the situation is going on in Ukraine. They've not got a home stadium, so they're playing in Poland. And I think, actually, there'll probably be more Celtic fans at that game in Warsaw than there will be Shakhtar Donetsk fans. So that could be an extra home game there for Celtic there against Shakhtar. But you should be looking to try and beat Shakhtar twice, get those 6 points. And then Leipzig, if you lose away, then you need to win the one at home if you want to qualify for the Champions League. But I do think Europa League will not be a problem. Let's take some more comments here again. Kyle says West Ham, Fiorentina and Liechtenstein's team would be a away day if we qualify. Jen Tapelwan and Bakalani. I think that's very good there, Kyle, as well. Riley says, come on the jam tarts. He says, get Sibic out of the club. I would like not a hard group. I just hope it doesn't affect us in the league, says Riley. Dream scenario is Villarreal or West Ham. For us, I think most of us care about the away day, the result against teams in pot one. Again, that's the perfect thing there that you want. You want as I say, you want your glamour tie. You want your West Ham, you want your Villarreal. I think those are the two ideal situations. But as I said, you do want to try and get an easier one in pot two. You want to avoid Fiorentina. You want to avoid Cologne. You want to avoid Cluj, FCSB. I say there, like Applewell and Slovian Bratislava is the team that you want from pot two, ideally, if you're going to get a glamour time pot one. And then again, pot four, just no problems there at all there for Hearts, I don't think. I don't think there is a stumbling block there. Maybe Lech Poznan, but apart from that, I think Hearts will be fine with those ones. Thoughts on Lawrence Shanklin? He's been fantastic since he's arrived. The guy that I'm looking at towards Hearts is Barry Mackay. I think he's fantastic at the moment. I really do think that was a great bit of business by Hearts, making sure that he signed for the long term. He has, and I think he could be key going into the conference league. You just got to keep him fit and ready to go. He doesn't have really any injury problems, sort of historically as a player, so he is a player that plays a lot of football. But again, I think he's a great signing, and I think he will do a lot of stuff for Hearts this season. Sir Scotty 99 says thoughts on the Rangers draw. So yeah, Rangers draw was again another interesting one. Look, out of Rangers and Celtic, I think Celtic have got the easier draw. I think Celtic have got the better chance of going through. But I look at Group A and I think, wow, some massive names there for Rangers to play against, some great stadiums to go against, a lot of heritage within the group in terms of history, traditional teams, and great atmospheres strike at me as well. You look at Ajax Amsterdam, a great side going out to there. They got some crazy fans, home and away. Liverpool, again, it's notorious on a European night. I do think people overinflate Anfield a bit, but on European nights, certainly very a good tie there. And of course, Napoli, very hostile in terms of the stadium, crumbling, but the fans, they're dangerous as well. So you will have to be careful if you're traveling out to Naples. But again, for in terms of Rangers qualifying, Rangers' chances of qualifying, I look at it maybe going you've got to look at it. You've got to look at it in detail. Yes, the names are there. Napoli, Ajax, Liverpool. But if you actually dive a little bit deeper, Ajax have sold a lot of players this summer. They're not the side that won the Eredivisie last season and did so well in the Champions League group stages. They've lost a lot of players, a good 6 or 7. And Antony could be about to go to Manchester United as well. So I think Ajax are a different team from last year, so don't compare them. And PSV also pumped Ajax at their own stadium at the start of the season. So I do think Rangers can hold their own against Ajax. I don't have a problem with that one. Napoli, again, Insigne, Koulibaly's all left as well. But, you know, they've had a good start to the Serie A this year as well, so they look very, very good. And then lastly, Liverpool. So Liverpool at Anfield's probably going to be a defeat, but this is my theory on this one. The Champions League starts next week. If Rangers play Liverpool at Ibrox next Tuesday, next Wednesday, they've got so many injuries at the moment at the football club. And, you know, they've had a rocky start. So if Rangers play them at Ibrox on Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, they might be able to nick something there and start the group fairly strong. So I do think Rangers is harder to qualify for the Champions League, and for the Europa League spot. But yeah, they should be aiming for third and trying to go on another Europa run. Anyway, guys, the stream has started. As I say, they're going to wheel out a couple of awards for the competition. We're going to go through the rules on how it works, and then we'll get underway. Hearts, of course, in pot 3. Let's have a little look at Randy. He says, Bodo Glimp, Hearts will get 2 or 3 games before crashing out, but the fans will hopefully get some good away tours, so it's been great. Neil Lennon versus Ten Hag. Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, Brandon Barker and Neil Lennon going to be playing at Old Trafford in 2022. Wow, that's crazy. Fair play to them. They deserve it, I suppose, after winning the cup, going through the qualifiers. So that's going to be an interesting tie. Yeah, Neil Lennon, new side, is going to be travelling over to Old Trafford. Celtic will finish bottom of the group, concede at least 20 goals as Summers. Madrid will destroy them. The one thing I'll say about Madrid, though, they do start fairly slow. So if Celtic were to get, you know, Real Madrid at Celtic Park next week, then that could be a decent time to play them, as we've seen Sheriff last year beat Real Madrid. So, look, it could be an interesting one there in terms of depending on when the actual fixtures come out. I think if Real Madrid play Celtic maybe in the middle of the group stage, then it's going to be a lot harder to get a result. But, you know, as I said, they're slow starters in the group stage. They don't really show up. So if Celtic were to play them next week, it's the same sort of ethos as Liverpool. You know, they may stand a chance at maybe getting 3 points on the board, or even just nicking a point there, which would be wouldn't be expected, which would be good for Celtic if they could go through. Let's have a little look at some more of these comments here. David Connor says PSV beat 10-man Ajax. Yeah, of course, but at the end of the day as well, I think PSV were in the lead already at that point. Calvin Bassey got sent off on the 75th minute. So the game was PSV were already winning the match. So, you know, make of it what you will. But PSV also beat Ajax in the KMVB Cup final at the end of last season as well. But Ajax, certainly a name. But you've got to look and dive deeper into Ajax at the moment. They're not the same side from last season. Still very, very tough. I'm not writing off Ajax. Everyone knows on this channel how fond I am of Ajax, my sort of European team, if you like. If that makes any sense. I like Ajax in terms of like the European sides, and I usually vouch for them if my team's not in Europe. Then I usually go with Ajax to hopefully cause an upset. So I am fond of them. I do know a bit about Ajax, but yeah, they've lost a lot of players this season, and I still think, you know what, Rangers can stand a chance in those games against Ajax, especially at Ibrox, and the same with Napoli. So we'll see what happens there. Let's have a little look down here as well. Jack Ross has been given the dreaded vote of confidence from the United owner. It's all gone Pete Tong, hasn't it, for him? Since the AZ Alkmaar game, it's just gone Pete Tong. I think they've lost every single game since then. Dundee United, for me, are ranked rotten. Jack Ross is the most overrated manager in the league for me. In terms of a Scottish manager, this will be his last big job in the league, and that's it. If he gets sacked from there, he's going to be going down the divisions. Overrated, massively overrated. Yeah, and, you know, Dundee United stunk the place out against AZ Alkmaar. They really did. 7-0. That was very, very bad going away from home. Remember the end of last season when they said Rangers won't get Champions League football, says Summers. Bill King says, so don't get why Ajax were in pot 1 above Liverpool, because they won the league, basically, and it's the right thing to do in the Champions League. The top sort of 6 leagues get, you go straight in. It is called the Champions League, of course. Liverpool finished second, so it does make sense there in terms of why they were a bit further down the pecking order. Rangers and Celtic can both be competitive in those groups. Ultimately, they were just pleased to be there, says Juicy Bear. Yeah, again, it's one of them situations. You know, the Champions League, there's higher quality of opposition. It's hard to qualify from the group, especially coming from pot 4. But I think Celtic have got a good chance of getting European football after Christmas. And I do think Rangers, with recent European success and what they've done in Europe, they shouldn't fear an Ajax. Ajax is just a name at the moment in terms of the players. They're still sort of tested of what they've done this season. They really are. They're you know, they've brought in a couple of additions. I know Bergwijn's joined, Bassey's joined, but still think they've and they could still lose some more players. So I do think that there could be a job done there. Who did Copenhagen get? I can't remember who Copenhagen got, but yeah, if you tell me who they got, then I'll check it out for sure. But guys, I'm going to read out the rules. As I say, Jambo fans, Hearts fans, put together your group or who you want, your dream scenario. Who do you want from pot 1? Who do you want from pot 2? And then who do you want from pot 4? I'm looking at pot 4. Nothing to worry about there for Hearts fans. Nothing to worry about. However, you just want the luck of getting the glamour tie and getting someone beatable in pot 2. As I said, I've picked out a couple of times here. Slovan Bratislava, Apeldoorn. Those two ideally, the rest we'll see, but the ones to avoid from pot 2, of course, is Fiorentina or Köln. I think for Hearts fans, I think they'll want a battle of Britain against West Ham. I think that'd be a cracker. And you know what, West Ham haven't started that well so far this season, so at Tynecastle, you play like last night, you might be able to pick up a point or something against West Ham. But you know, it is what it is. It is what it is, guys. I think Hearts should be aiming for qualification. Let's put it that way. They certainly can't go through this group stage with not winning a game. We'll see what the group is, but I'm looking at those pot 4 teams and they should be beating all of them. No problem, home and away. That RFS narrowly beat Linfield, so that's just showing the quality there. They literally scraped through on penalties. It was a horrible ending there for Linfield, but you know, that's the sort of quality you're up against, so Hearts shouldn't have a problem. Copenhagen got Dortmund, Manchester City, okay, and Sevilla. Sevilla is the other team. Yeah, that's a decent group there for Copenhagen. Man City, they're probably the outliers. Dortmund have lost a couple of players. They haven't started the season that well either. And then Sevilla, they're on the decline as well. So yeah, a good group there for Copenhagen, I think. But you know, maybe get third. I don't see Copenhagen going to the last 16, but certainly maybe a vouch for third place. Good to see Harper YouTube. Hope you're well. Pleasant group. Yeah, Victoria Pleasant, man. They got absolutely demolished. There was a chance. It was Rangers had a 50-50 chance of getting that group. It was A or C. So Rangers fans looking back at it actually got a better group because Inter Milan, Barcelona and Bayern Munich is absolutely honking. There's no chance of qualifying even for the Europa League out of that one. Barcelona's a bit iffy, but Lewandowski there, they spent a lot of money. You do expect the two to go through. But you know, it's a very interesting one for sure. But yeah, Rangers did avoid one there with Group C because that was absolutely howling. Has it been drawn, guys? No, I'll keep you up to date, guys, as we move along here. The draw will commence very, very soon. They're just sort of bringing out the guys that are going to do the draw, and then we'll probably get underway. But looking at this group, I know some Europa League teams will drop in at third place, but you're looking at the likes of Villarreal. They'll probably fancy their chances. Remember, Champions League semi-finalists last year, won the Europa League the year before, so I do feel they could stand a very good chance of qualifying for or winning the actual competition outright, especially with Unai Emery there. He's almost a specialist in these sort of secondary European competitions. So I do feel Villarreal are probably the favourites. West Ham could be within a shout of winning the competition. But again, remember they have started the season pretty poorly. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens there. Funny that Dortmund and Manchester City is the same group. Thinking about Haaland just did his move. Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. There's a lot of stories linked up. The Bayern and Barcelona one in the Champions League as well. Lewandowski going back to Bayern after the way he sort of exited the football club. So many years of success. I think he won 8 league titles there, Champions League and stuff like that. But yeah, that'll be a good little tie. Barca v Bayern. And then you've also obviously got on the Rangers side, you've got Bassi going back to Ibrox. That'll be interesting. So yeah, there's some interesting ties there, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Do Hearts have a chance of not being drawn? Well, Hearts are in the hat. I think Hearts fans will look back at last night, and it'll be two ways for me. They'll have a bit of confidence from last night in terms of the way they played in that first half. I felt they were really, really good. That's the best I've seen Hearts play in a little while. But at the same time, I'd be if I was a teammate of, was it George Grant? Mate, what is he doing? I know sometimes you're trying to buy maybe a penalty, but there's 25, it was a long time left to go in the game. I felt like the goal was coming for Hearts and they just needed to just keep on going. And when you're on a yellow card, maybe if you've not been booked, maybe go down, give it a dive and try something, but don't do it on a yellow card. It was a blatant dive and it just cost Hearts the game. It really did, because I think a goal was coming. If anything, I think Hearts would have took it to extra time at least, and then we would have seen Hearts maybe go through. But the red card killed the game at the end of the day. And if I was a Hearts fan, I would be absolutely raging with Grant after that. It was a stupid dive. So stupid. Especially the way that they were playing. They were on the ascendancy throughout the match. And yeah, stupid decision by him. Really, really stupid. I couldn't get over it at the time. I watched it back and I was thinking, just stupid. Just such a stupid thing to do. Will pot 1 teams be drawn against each other, e.g. West Ham? No. So, for those of you that don't know the rules, pot 1, pot 2, pot 3 and pot 4, there'll be 1 team drawn from pot 1, 1 team drawn from pot 2, 1 team drawn from pot 3, and then pot 4 as well. So, people in pots, the teams in pots won't play each other. Teams that are from the same country won't play each other. But I don't think we have many country clashes except from the 2 Romanian sides there. And the Turkish teams. Apart from that, everyone's sort of representing their own countries. Actually, no, Anderlecht and Ghent there as well. So there is a couple there. But anyway, guys, we're about to read the rules of how it's going to unfold. As I said, I've just kind of went through it. Pot 1 will be drawn out. Then a team from pot 2 will be drawn out. Pot 3, then pot 4. And then we'll find out, obviously, come pot 4 who Hearts' actual group's going to be. But as you can see that that's how it's going to be played out. Obviously there's a bit of country protection, so countries can't come up against each other, as I just mentioned, in terms of like Ghent and Anderlecht can't play each other, Sivasspor and Istanbul Basaksehir can't play each other, FCSB Cluj can't play each other, and that's it. Yeah, so there is country protection there, so the sides can't play each other. But go on, Hearts fans, let me know down there in the live chat, who do you fancy? Who do you want in your group? What do you want? What's the one you want from pot 1? What's the one you want from pot 3? What's the one you want from pot 2? And then what's the one you want from pot 4? Let me know your dream scenario for this. It's very exciting, Hearts fans. You should be buzzing for this one. Should be really, really excited. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, some Irish fans in here as well. Of course, Shamrock Rovers are in the group stages there as well. That's pretty good for Irish football. It's a shame that Linfield last night, they nearly got through last night in terms of going and be the first Northern Irish team to play in a group stage of Europe. So close. If you don't know how that one went, it did go to extra time. Linfield scored and they had 6 minutes to run out. On the 120th minute, they missed a sitter, and then the other side went up the other end and scored an equaliser, and obviously the game went to penalties, and then that RFS or whatever they're called, they managed to win on penalties. So it was a bit of a sad time there, especially sort of for British football, if you like. Linfield, that'd have been good to see another British side in there, but and it'd been good money for Northern Irish team as well. We're talking about how much this money's benefiting Hearts, but for a Northern Irish team, that's a lot of money. However, it probably would massively ruin Northern Irish football, even if one team got a couple of million quid and then boom, they already are dominating that league anyway. So it's like if they'd got even more, then it would just make the league even worse. Guys, if you haven't already, please do smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new. As I say, we are about to get underway here for pot 1 and go through the draw as mentioned. I can't believe how quick everything's coming alive, by the way. I do apologise for Hearts fans last night. I was going to be doing the live stream, but I did have slight technical difficulties, and I'm kind of glad I didn't do the game in the end because BBC had an absolute nightmare with their stuff. So I will be doing Hearts games for the Europa Conference League on Thursday nights. That's the new nights for Hearts fans. So Hearts fans, if you are new to the channel, please do hit the old subscribe button. As I say, I will be covering the Hearts games every Thursday. So exciting time if you're a Jambo. And hopefully Hearts can get a nice one. I'm looking from a Hearts perspective. I would go West Ham, Apollon. So West Ham, Apollon, and then any of those pot 4 teams except from Lech Poznan. Maybe like a Sleekleborg or something. I don't even pronounce the names. So, yeah, it is what it is. But the draw is underway, guys. We're getting underway here with pot 1. And the first name to be drawn out of the hat is as follows. Now, this is the boring bit. It's just literally just segregating the teams into groups. And as pot 2 comes out, we'll start to see the clashes. But Istanbul Baskaya are the first team out of the hat there. The Turkish team. They're the first name out of the hat. And they're going into Group A. So there you go there. Istanbul are Group A. But at least, Mark, you won't have to worry about BBC this time around. I think your games will be on the on BT going forward now. So at least you'll have a decent sort of representation, if you like. Good one, Mark. It's irrelevant. Celtic never... Brian Warren, you're always talking about busts and bankruptcy. Just talk about football, buddy. Talk about football. But as I say, pot 1 is getting drawn out, and then I don't want to bore you. Just say, oh, names out the hat, and they're in Group C. We'll just as it keeps on going, we'll let you know as it starts getting exciting in pot 2. Looking forward to that one. As I say, some tasty little ties there. I'm sure the Jambos want West Ham. West Ham! Big week for Scottish football, actually. I do need to say, I'm going to say on my live stream tomorrow, we have got a game tomorrow. I think it's Rangers versus Ross County. However, as I said, I'm moving out on Sunday, so I can't do the Dundee United game, and then I can't do the Cup games during the week. I think Rangers take on Queen of the South, and I think Celtic take on Ross County. But basically, because I'm moving and I'm going on holiday, I can't do those games, so I won't be back. So tomorrow will be my last live stream until the sort of move is commenced. I go on holiday, and I will be back for the Old Firm, of course. And then the first sort of Champions League games, they're coming up very, very soon in terms of the Champions League. That's the 6th and 7th of September. They're coming so quick. That's next week. Not next week, sorry, the week after. 2 weeks. 2 weeks, basically. Or less than that. A week and a half, in fact, will be the Champions League group starting. And, of course, the Europa Conference League will be starting as well. So there is plenty of games coming up live on the channel, but as I said, I will be missing Sunday's clash at Tannadice, and I'll be missing the League Cup games, but I will be back for the Old Firm on Saturday. on the Saturday. BBC should stick to what they're best at, making animal documentaries, not trying to broadcast football. Well, hopefully they don't have any rights to the Conference League, because I know sometimes they can pick up games, but hopefully I think BT have just got the exclusive rights for all British teams. So, as I say, Hearts fans will be on the on BT, which is good for them. Sean says, "Are you from England or have you got a weird Scottish accent?" I'm basic. I was born in England, but my family are all Scottish, basically. So that's why I like Scottish football, basically, because my family's Scottish and whatnot. My father was in the father was in the army, so he moved down to England, and then hence why I've got an English accent and why I was brought up in England. But there we go, guys. We are done with pot one. Pot one has been drawn. Now it starts to get exciting. Now we're starting to see where the group of death will come from. We'll start to see where the likeable group that Hearts will want. But pot two teams are now getting drawn here for the group stage. And now here we go, ladies and gentlemen. First name out the hat for pot two is going to be Fiorentina. Okay, so this is interesting now. Fiorentina, because they could get matched up into like a group of death. I look at if Villarreal and Fiorentina, that could be a group of death there. West Ham and Fiorentina could be a group of death. That's something that Hearts would want to avoid, I would say, especially if they want to try and get through out of the group stages. And here comes FCSB. They're actually Champions League winners, by the way. Yeah, they won the Champions League back in the 90s, I think. Bucharest. That was one of the funny big stories of football. But they're going to into an interesting group, FCSB. Next name out of the hat is Hapoel Beersheva. So the Israeli side, Hapoel Beersheva, they're going to be going into group. They're going into Group C with Villarreal. So already there, I'm looking at that Group C one. You get your glamour tie, and it's not too difficult as of a tie there for Hearts fans, but I don't know if the Jambos would want to travel out to Israel. That's the question. Next name out the hat is Köln. Köln. So this is the next team out the hat here. Köln in pot two. What an atmosphere that would be, by the way, in Germany. They do sing Loch Lomond as their song at the start of the game, obviously in Germany. But they're going into Partizan. So really, that's a decent little group there, because I think Partizan, they're a good team, Partizan Belgrade, but they're not the big dog. So certainly Köln could be a sort of glamour tire for a Jambo. Next team out is Apollon. Again, so I can't pronounce that team. Apollon. I think they're Cypriot by the looks of things. Apollon. And they're going into the Group E with AZ Alkmaar. So there you go. That's another little one there. You look at that one actually and go, Dundee United beat AZ. I know they got absolutely pumped rotten against in the home leg, but at Tynecastle maybe Hearts could get something against AZ, and I think Hearts are a level above Dundee United anyway. Molde, so a trip to Norway. Molde are going into Group F with Ghent. Again, that one looks not too bad. I don't look at that one too scary. Group F, little trip to Belgium. But nothing too strikes me too scary right now for Hearts fans at the moment. There's no real group to avoid just yet. It's been balanced pretty well, to be fair. Cluj come out the hat. Cluj are going to go into a group with Slavia Prague. So again, there is no real outlier where I go, oh, that's a group of death. And the last name out of the hat for pot 2 is Slovan Bratislava. So Slovan Bratislava, they're going into Group H with FC Basel. Again, that's a nice little tie there. I think Group H there for Hearts to be a cracker. I mean, you haven't really got the glamour tie, but I feel a decent chance of getting out the group, definitely. So there we go. We've got our groups assembled. I'm going to have a little look at them quickly. Hopefully they bring up the screen. But basically, we can have a little look what's probably the best for Hearts. You're looking as it's starting to assemble. As I said, there's no real outlier for me in terms of a group of death. Wow, which one do you want to avoid? Let me just go on BT Sport quickly just to see it go through the groups. So the groups are as follows. Pot 3 is about to commence, by the way. So Group B there is West Ham and FCSB. So I think Hearts maybe want those, but here we go for pot 3 now. Hearts are in pot 3, so let's see what could happen here as we're about to get underway. And it's Hearts, the first name out the hat. Hearts are the first name out the hat, and Hearts are going into Group A. So Hearts are playing Istanbul, Bashkaya, Fiorentina. Oh, mate, Hearts have got the worst group already. Oh, that's probably the group of death, actually. Hearts have got Group A. That's a bit of a stinker. Fiorentina, but what a game that is for Hearts, by the way. Fiorentina, that'll be a cracking one. Go to Italy, take on Fiorentina, but then Istanbul, Bashkaya. Oh, that's a tricky one. It is a tricky one, but look, you know what? I've seen crazier things happen. Hearts go into that one. So no Battle of Britain for Heart of Midlothian. They're going to be playing Fiorentina and Istanbul Bashkaya. Next name out of the hat is Vaduz. They're taking on Alkmaar and Apoel Limassol. So they've got a decent tie there as well. Shamrock Rovers. I know there's a Shamrock Rovers fan in here. Shamrock Rovers are going into a group with Ghent, Molde. That's a good group for Shamrock, by the way. That's a good group for Shamrock Rovers. Ghent and Molde. Fair play to them. They have a decent opportunity to go through that, depending on who they get in pot 4. But yeah, Ghent and Molde. Anderlecht are the next name out of the hat. Of course, the Belgian Giants. Anderlecht, Champions League team, really. They used to be anyway. But they're going into Group B. West Ham, FCSB, and Anderlecht. That's a tasty little group there. You've got the Romanian champions, and you've got Anderlecht and West Ham. That's going to be a cracker, actually. That's not too bad. Next name out of the hat is Austria Vienna. Austria Vienna go into the Group C, and they're going to be taking Villarreal and Hapoel Beersheva. Next name out of the hat is Nice. Oh, Aaron Ramsey and Schmeichel. Nice side of going into a fairly easy group. I mean, Cologne and Partizan in Group D. They're gonna have, that's not too bad for them. Some decent ties there. Next name out of the hat here for pot 3 is Sivasspor, the Turkish side. Sivasspor are going to be going into Group G with Slavia Prague and Cluj. So there you go, Group G coming to assemble. For your Jambo guys, it's a trip to Istanbul, Başakşehir, and Fiorentina. So some tasty little games there, actually. Fiorentina would be a good one. I think that would be a good one for the Hearts fans. I know probably a lot of them wanted thing, but it is a hard group. You want to avoid Lech Poznan, though, in pot 4, I would say. The rest, I think Hearts should take confidence and be able to get points against those. So there you go, guys. Pot 3 is concluded, and we are now going to do the final pot to conclude this season's Europa Conference League group stages. But as I said there, Istanbul, Fiorentina, and Heart of Midlothian in Group A. What do you think, Hearts fans? Let me know down there in the live chat. What do you think of that one? Pot 4 is the final one. As I say, the pronunciation on these names just goes to show the only team I can actually look at there is I know who Lech Poznan are. They were in the Europa League. They did okay against Rangers a few years back. Rangers beat them fairly comfortably, but they're probably the one where I go, maybe the one to avoid out of pot 4. As long as just Hearts can avoid them, I think it's a guaranteed 6. Well, it's not a guarantee. That's being a bit thingy, but you should look at those teams there and go, you know what, that's a good opportunity to beat them. So RFS, they're the first name out of the hat, and then they go into Group A. That's perfect. That is perfect for Hearts. RFS. Remember, Linfield drew 2-2 to them away from home. They were 2-0 up at one point, and they nearly beat them yesterday. They lost on penalties. That's a guaranteed 6-pointer for Hearts, I think. It is a very, very good one from pot 4. Again, I don't like to use the term guaranteed, and I don't like to be offensive, but Linfield and Hearts, in terms of Linfield, are Scottish League 1 standard. Not to be disrespectful to any Northern Irish football watchers, it's probably League One standard, and they gave RFS a game. They were 2-0 up away from home, drew the game 2-2, and then they were so close to qualifying with about a minute to go, and effed it up from there. But that's a decent one for Hearts. So the group is Istanbul Bashkaya, Fiorentina, Hearts, and RFS. I would be happy with that one if I'm a Hearts fan, in terms of, get a couple of wins against RFS. Maybe it's going to be tough to qualify, of course. Fiorentina and Istanbul are probably the favourites. But, you know what? Turkish teams don't always equate that well, to be fair, in Europe. So at Tynecastle, that could be a good game. But some tasty ties there. I'm sure most Hearts fans are looking at the Fiorentina one and going, that's going to be a cracker. Cooper caught hacking, says Celtic guaranteed 6 points against Donetsk. I mean, a lot of people are barraging Donetsk, and rightfully so. They have lost a lot of players, but Donetsk are still a good team in Europe over the years. I think they beat Real Madrid last year. Shakhtar Donetsk. I think they beat them last year. So yeah, not too bad. And then Cooper says Leipzig at home 3 points. Again, I think I do. As I said, I do think Celtic do have a good chance of getting through, and should be looking at European football after Christmas for sure. But maybe being a bit disrespectful to RB Leipzig. I think maybe being a bit disrespectful to RB Leipzig. I think RB Leipzig, man for man, are better than Celtic in terms of the quality that they possess in their team. However, as you said there, it's a beatable tie. Do you know what I mean? It's not. It's a winnable tie, but I certainly wouldn't be sort of saying RB Leipzig is a guaranteed 3 points, because they are a very, very good team. They are a very, very good team. Christopher Nkunku and co, all that there. So a decent side there. We're just about to conclude the groups, guys, and I'll give you a round off of all of the Europa Conference League groups. But as I say, the news is that Istanbul Bashkaya, Fiorentina, Hearts, and RFS are in Group A. So the Jambos will be taking on the Turkish side, the Italian side, and RFS. Where the heck are they from? Where the heck are they actually from? Randy's not happy with that. No, as I said, just to clarify, I do think Celtic have got a good group in terms of they should be looking to at least the minimum is getting into the Europa League, and they do have a good chance of getting to Champions League. But I wouldn't look at. I am seeing a bit of overconfidence, maybe at RB Leipzig, and saying it's a guaranteed 3 points. RB Leipzig are a very, very good team. They just won the DFB Pokal. They got to the Europa League semi-final. They've beaten some decent teams along the way. They've got Christopher Nkunku. They've got Timo Werner. Some really, really good team players within that squad. So as I say, I wouldn't be looking at Leipzig as a guaranteed, because it's not guaranteed 3 points. No way. But what I will say is it's a very, very good chance for Celtic to qualify, maybe. Okay, so Group A, as I say, Istanbul, Fiorentina, Hearts, and RFS. Group B is West Ham, FCSB, Anderlecht, and Sikaborg. Group C is Villarreal, Hapoel Beersheva, Austrian Vienna, and Lech Poznan. That's quite a tough group. Group D is Partizan Belgrade, FC Köln, Nice, and Slovako. So there you go. Tough group for Hearts, actually. It is a tough group to qualify from, but they should definitely have a bit of confidence. Group E is AZ, Apoel, Limassol, FC Vaduz, Dnipro -1. Group F is Ghent, Molde, Shamrock Rovers, and I'm not going to even pronounce this name, Derja Gardans If. Group G is Slavia Prague, Cluj, Sivasspor, Balakani, and then Group H is Basel, Slovan Bratislava, Zagaris Vilnius. Oh my god, some of those names, man. But that's it, guys. The Europa Conference League is concluded. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section below. How do you feel, Hearts fans, or even neutrals? How do you feel about Hearts' chances of qualifying into the knockout stages? And as I say, that brings us to the end of today's stream. It will be back for a couple of videos today, and of course on Saturday as Rangers take on Ross County at Ibrox. But until then, guys,